Hey, welcome everybody. We are live here at Wrigley Field, early morning Wednesday, um, present time. But we are replaying 1979 Mets opening day versus the Cubs in Chicago at Wrigley Field. Pretty good game right now. We're locked in a pitching duel between Craig Swan and Rick Reuschel. The score is 1-1. The Mets have 1 run, 5 hits, and no errors, 5 left on base, while the Cubs have 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error, and 2 left on base. Leading it off for the Mets here in the top of the fifth is going to be Lee Mazzilli, the switch hitter. So we're going to roll through the pitcher first and see what kind of pitch it is. It's going to be a ball hit in play, and in play 67 is a ground ball to second base. Ted Sizemore is playing second base, and he makes the play 1 away. Next is going to be Kelvin Chapman. Kelvin Chapman had only 80 at bats with the Mets that year. Batted 136 versus righties. That tells you why. It's a 9, patient. So Chapman has a chance to do something, but no way. Not with a 68. That's going to be a fly ball to center. Jerry Martin out there playing center field for the Cubs. He runs it down, 2 away. We are in the top of the fifth with 2 out. It's a 1-1 ball game. It's Richie Hebner. 7. That's in play. A 34, an in play 34 is right outside the hit range, takes us to the out range, and that's going to be a ground ball right back to Reuschel. Reuschel feels his position, flips to the first baseman, and it's 3 up, 3 down. Go to the bottom of the fifth. Craig Swan is looking good. Craig Swan had a good season in 1979. It was 14-13 with a 3.29 ERA. Here's a pitch from Swan. He sets and deals. It's a tough pitch. See what Jerry Martin can do with 39. A tough 39 is going to be a strikeout. High hard one gets Jerry Martin swinging. Next is going to be Barry Foote. He's 0 for 1. He's flied out. And Swan sets and deals. It's a tough pitch. And it's a 67. A tough 67 is going to be a ground ball to second base. Kelvin Chapman there, playing second for the Mets right now. At least for the first month. He has 80 at bats in 79. Rick Reuschel, the pitcher. Pitch from Swan, 7. That's tough. A tough 32 is going to be a strikeout. Down on strikes goes Rick Reuschel. Yeah, I finally figured out what tough out meant. I looked it up and figured it out. The guy doesn't get a hit. You go on his tough section, and if it says hit, you just go directly to the out section and look up the number that you rolled. If it's not a strikeout, obviously. So it's going to be John Stearns, pretty speedy catcher. Had 15 stolen bases, was caught 15 times. Guys in 79 were not bashful about running, whether caught or not. It was just something that was part of the game. I mean, so you can have, 33 stolen bases and 22 caught stealings. No problem. Nowadays, they look at the percentage. They don't let anybody go unless they have an amazingly high percentage, and even that guy has to pick his spots. All right. I guess it has to be a time when nobody expects you to go so you can keep your percentage high. Back in the day, man, they just went. Anyway, 1979. That's a patient off Reuschel's card. John Stearns, patient, has a chance to do something, but not with a 94. And that's going to take him into a fly ball to left. Dave Kingman out there. King Kong Kingman. Early morning game. Got up about 4:30 and started it then before I go to work. Willie Montanez. Montanez has an RBI single for the Mets today. It's going to be a 9, patient. So Montanez has an opportunity here, but now with a 79, it's not going to happen. It's a fly ball lifted to center for out number 2. Right there is Jerry Martin. Makes the catch. And it's Steve Henderson. He's 0 for 1. Walks and strikeout. A 3 ballpark. Everything's pretty much a wheelhouse here at Wrigley Field. It's almost a 70 for left-handed batters and an 86 for right-handed batters. We rolled a 41, so it's going to be wheelhouse. Against a righty, it's 1-13 for Steve Henderson, and that ball is cranked out of here. Oh, and it's going to be a 65. He's not going to get anything out of it. It's going to be a ground ball to second base. Sizemore up with it. Throws out Henderson, and the side is retired. Go to the top of the bottom of the sixth. It's the Cubbies, Ivan De Jesus versus Craig Swan, who's pitching a 3-hitter so far. The only run came from a home run by Bill Buckner, I believe in the first inning. That's a 7, a tough 55. Oh, it's right, makes the hit range right there, 55, base hit. So Ivan De Jesus, now we're going to see if he steals. De Jesus is a 4, has to roll a 4, we rolled a 7. So he does not go, and that's it for his opportunity to run. Ted Sizemore, it's a 6 in play 69. That could be a double play. Let's see. Nope, it's a fly ball to center field, not a ground ball. And De Jesus back to first. Bill Buckner batted .295 versus righties with 9 home runs. Hit 14 total for 79. It's a 7. That's a tough 11 is going to be strikeout. And you don't get Bill Buckner striking out very often. So that's something to make note of. And it's Dave Kingman, King Kong Kingman with the power. Hit 32 home run versus right-handers. So Swan better watch his step. That's a 6 in play. An in play 74. And that's going to be a fly ball, deep fly ball. Mazzilli goes back to the track and makes the catch. So Cubs lead 1. And at the end of 6, it's 1-1. Here at Wrigley Field, Chicago. All right. Reuschel climbs the mound. Elliott steps in the box. It's a 4 wheel. Oh, it's a patient. And a 69. A 69 is going to be a patient 69 is going to be, well, it goes all the way up to 62. And Elliott Maddox is, he's a right-handed batter. Goes all the way up to 62. A 69 is going to take us a bit beyond that into the out territory. It's going to be ground ball to second, and Sizemore throws him out easily. Doug Flynn, he's 1 for 2, and that's an 8. That's in play, a 56, in play 56. It's going to be a fly ball to right. Bobby Mercer playing right field for the Cubs. Mercer went from the Yankees to the Cubs and then back to the Yankees. I believe he finishes his career for the Yankees or goes with a team for a short time. And it's the pitcher, Craig Swan. He's a pitcher batting card 3. That's a 6, tough. That's going to be an out, no doubt. That's going to be a strikeout, no doubt about that. Lovely system this payoff pitch has. Beautiful, smooth, elegant. I love it, man. Filled with diversity. All right, here's Bobby Mercer. And that's a 6 in play, which is not always easy. A 65 in play, 65 takes us to the out range, and that's going to be a ground ball to short. Doug Flynn feels it, throws him out. Steve Olivares here in the bottom of the 7th. He's 0 for 2 on the day. That's a 6 in play. A 0-3. Now that's trouble. An in play 0-3 is going to ball that's lined and driven into the gap, and that's going to get past Mazzilli. He's going to hustle after it. And Olivares thinking about going for 3, but stops and gets back. So it's a 1-out double for Steve Ontiveros, the third baseman for the Cubs. Now, Ontiveros batted .285 versus right-handers. So the go-ahead run is standing at second base with only 1 out, and it's Jerry Martin. Martin batted .251 versus righties in 375 at-bats with 9 home runs. That's a 10. That's patient. So that's advantage. I'd say that's advantage Martin. And a 55, a patient 55. Oh, Swan gets lucky. It's right outside that range, and it's a ground ball to third. And holding at second is going to be Unaveris. So that's 2 away now. And it's Barry Foote. Now, Barry Foote batted 240 versus righties with 308 at bats and 12 home runs. So he's got some power. He's 1 to 34 wheelhouse. So hopefully he doesn't get a wheelhouse against Craig Swan. Barry Foote, right-handed hitting catcher. That's a 6 and a 678. An in-play 78. It's going to be way into the out range. It's going to be a fly ball, high fly ball, lifted to center. Mazzilli in a few steps, pounds the glove, makes the catch. Mets get out of it. Mets and Swanee get out of trouble. My 79 Mets. I grew up about a mile from the stadium, from Shea Stadium. Grew up in Jackson Heights, and Shea Stadium is in Flushing. I worked right in Flushing, so I passed it every day for 3-4 years. And I would ride my bike in the afternoons in Flushing Meadow Park that was adjacent to Shea Stadium. So I have a lot of great memories from my childhood and my early adulthood in this area. So when I play the Mets, it takes me back there. I really like that. And here's a pitch from Reuschel. Lee Mazzilli, switch hitter. Mazzilli's 1 for 3. That's a 4. That's going to be a patient. So Mazzilli has a chance to do something if he can get the roll, and he does not. Although his patient goes to 72. This is a 79, and this is going to be a fly ball to center. Jerry Martin runs it down. Out number 1. Lee Mazzilli's son is, I believe, playing with the Mets. He played with the Brooklyn Bonnies in New York, an organization, or at least an organization that played the Brooklyn Bonnies. Big youth organization, baseball youth organization set in Brooklyn, New York. It's a 9. That's a patient. Kelvin Chapman has been getting some good initial off the pitcher rolls, but then it doesn't translate into later rolls. So it's a patient 64, and it goes up to 34. So it's a 64. It's going to be a ground ball, second base, Sizemore. Oh, gets Chapman by a step. And Richie Hebner now. And that's a 3. That's wheelhouse for Hebner. A lefty, 57. That's going to be a wheelhouse. 1 to 22, and he cranks one. Oh, a 0-2. That's a deep drive to right field. Bobby Mercer to the track, to the wall. Looks up. It's out of here. Richie Hebner connects for the Mets. Puts up the Mets by a score of 2-1 here in the top of the 8th with 2 outs. Comes up clutch. Now, in actuality, in this game, Richie Hebner had 4 hits. And, you get that feeling, that first opening day feeling where you get the new lineup, You got Mazzilli leading off. You got Hebner, who's an established player, batting 3rd. You got Willie Montanez batting 5th. Elliot Maddox batting 7th, and the high hopes. You get that feeling, that sense of, hey, maybe something magical will happen. That's what opening day is all about, the magic. You got John Stearns batting 4th. I don't understand that, because and not known as a power hitter, so I don't know. Anyway, John Stearns. So Rick Reuschel wishes he had that pitch back, but he gave up a home run to Richie Hebner, and the Mets lead at 2-1 here in the top of the 8th with 2 outs. And John Stearns, the right-handed hitting catcher for the Mets with good speed, steps into the box, and Rick Reuschel sets and deals. Oh, it's a ballpark. And like I said, 78, a righty, it's 1 to 86 right there. So almost everything is wheelhouse. So this is a type of field that's going to allow you a lot of offensive production. All right, so it's 1 to 14 is going to be a tater. Let's see what happens. Oh, 14. That's a deep drive to left field. Dave Kingman back to the track, looks up. It's out of here. A solo shot, back-to-back jacks for the Mets, and Rick Reuschel wishes he had that pitch back. The Mets lead it now 3-1. So this is a great little early morning present so far from the Mets here, taking me back to my childhood and early adulthood, growing a few blocks from Shea Stadium. All right, so it's Willie Montanez. There's some action in the Cub bullpen now. Willie Montanez. Rick Reuschel's fatigue is the 8th, so he is actually fatigued right now. So we are going to bring in a fatigue card, which I do not do very often. So this will be fun to see how this turns out. Usually it doesn't have much of a difference. ERA is 0 to 399. Okay, here it is. Here's your fatigue pitcher card, and you look 0 to 399. His ERA was 362, and 0 to 590 strikeouts. His strikeouts were 4.7. So that works out perfectly. So Rick Reuschel is now a fatigue pitcher, but there is action in the Cub bullpen. There's 2 outs, so we're not really worried about it right now. It's a 3-1 ball game. Still a close ball game for the Cubs to come back in and make it exciting. So we don't want to let them go too long. It's going to be an in-play, not really a big deal. A 23, an in-play 23 is going to be a ball hit up the middle and through into center field for a base hit. It's a 2-out single for Willie Montanez. That's his second hit of the game. And it's going to be Steve Henderson who's 0 for 2. He's walked in the first. Right-handed batter. And that's a 3. That's patient. This could be an opportunity. A 40. Patient 40 is going to be a walk. So now we've got a situation where we're forced to go to the bullpen. We don't want to let this get out of hand. It's going to be Elliot Maddox. Elliot Maddox, and I'm looking at the beautiful payoff pitch selection of pitchers here. Look at this. It goes on and 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 on. And this is their regular set without the fringe players and without having to buy, extra players for another $15, $20, $30, $40, $50. Come on now. All right, so we're going to look and see who we can bring in here. 6. Tidrow pitched in 63 games. He's a right-hander. Batting is a right-hander. We have a Suter who pitched in 62 games. Those are the 2 main go-to guys. Lynn McLaughlin, but he was a starter reliever. Oh, Dennis Lamp, I think, actually pitched in this game. Dennis Lamp. He's a right-hander. He's going to come in. Donnie Moore, 39 games. So Lamp, 38 games. Moore, 39 games. I believe Lamp goes in this game, and sometimes it doesn't react. I'm trying to look, but I remember Lamp pitching in this game, so I'm going to bring in Lamp. Dennis Lamp. Ah, there it is. I have my iScore pad to my right, 10-inch iScore pad, iPad, and then to my left I have a laptop. And it's early morning, so my laptop has been dozing, if you will, napping all night, and it takes a little bit. It's an older laptop, and it takes just a little bit to get going. And I'm looking now at the box score for the actual game on April 5th, 1979, and Dennis Lamp did pitch. He was the 3rd pitcher, Hernandez. Let's take a peek and see if we have Hernandez in here. I don't know that we do. I did not see him, Hernandez, but I may not have separated all the cards properly. I don't have Hernandez. Let's see if there's any pitchers stuck. Oh, there he is. Yeah, I separate the batters from the pitchers, and look, I have like 10 batters here. I only use the guys that actually played in the game pretty much, or I go to the game before, the game after to make sure they were on the roster. So Willie Hernandez is not coming in simply because, and the other pitcher was Moore. Moore pitched before Donnie Moore came in, so we're going to bring in Donnie Moore instead of Dennis Lamp, because actually Donnie Moore came in first in that game. All right, so Donnie Moore, we're going to have to write him in real quickly. It won't take long. Just go to, all right, add sub, and sometimes I go D, just to speed it up more. And he's a righty. And D Moore is in there. Boom, it's all done. And this keeps track of everything for me. And then sends me a box score at the end. Okay, so it's Elliott Maddox, runners on first and second. There's 2 outs. The Mets lead it. The Mets have back-to-back jacks here in the top of the 8th inning. So the game is close to its conclusion unless it goes into extra innings, and that's always a possibility. And that's going to be an 8. That's tough off Donnie Moore's card. A tough 50. Let's see what that becomes against a righty. Oh, it just catches the hit range on Elliott Maddox's card. So this is exciting. Runners on first and second now. And it's a single line drive into center. And it says runners advance 1 base. Runner on second advances 1 base. But the issue is that with 2 outs, if Willie Montanez is a 6 base runner, he's going to score. He scores for second. That's in the rules. And Montanez, as you can see, run rating is a 5. So he's going to hold up at third. So the bases are now loaded. Elliott Maddox singles with first and second, loads the bases. And it's going to be Elliott Maddox on first, takes his lead. Steve Henderson off second. And Willie Montanez on third base, 2 outs. Donnie Moore, the pitcher. Doug Flynn steps into the box. And he's 1 for 3 on the day. And it's going to be a 5. That's going to be range. That's going to be interesting. Because that tells me to go to this card here. And the range is going to be shortstop. Our shortstop, De Jesus, is a range D. And we look at the Wrigley Field card, range D is a 1 to 61. So anything within that 1 to 61 range is going to be a base hit. Let's see what happens. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. Doug Flynn hits one into the hole. Can Ivan De Jesus get to it? And 92, he does get to it. Ivan De Jesus gets to it and throws to second base. Ted Sizemore covering for the force and gets Donnie Moore and the Cubs out of that inning without any further damage being done. The Mets hit back-to-back jacks in that inning by Richie Hebner and I believe John Stearns, both connect. And after I mentioned that John Stearns, and I questioned him batting fourth in the actual lineup because he wasn't a power hitter, he didn't like that, and he just connected one and drove one out of the park saying, hey, what do you mean? What are you talking about? What you talking about? Forget about it. All right. Payoff pitch, amazing, amazing. Okay, let's see. Craig Swan is going to be facing, he's going to be a pinch hitter for it's going to be Larry Bittner. Larry Bittner is going to hit for the pitcher spot. And then, then we're probably going to get, we'll see who we're going to, all right. So it's Craig Swan versus Larry Bittner. It's the bottom of the 8th. It's 3-1 Mets. Opening day, 1979. 6 in play. In play versus a righty is going to be a 79. That's way out of range. That's going to be a fly ball, lifted high fly ball, lifted to Mazzilli. Mazzilli backs up a couple of steps, and he's there. 1 away. So the pinch hitter, Bittner, flies out to Mazzilli. And Craig Swan looks in for the sign, and he deals 3. That's defense. So I'll show you how this works. 35. Now, I look at the defensive card first, and I see here it's a 3 or less. 3, 2, 1 is going to be an error. Range is shortstop. I'm sorry, that's range. So what did we say it was? It was defense. So it's not an error. It's a range. All right. And since it's range shortstop again, but this time for Doug Flynn, we're going to look at the range section. And with a 35, a B is already a hit. So unless he's an A range, right? Unless Flynn is an A range, which I highly doubt. but you never know. He was known for his glove. He had a good glove, but not according to Payoff Pitch. He's a C range with a pretty good error rating, almost at the top, but he's a C range, and that's going to be a hit because that's 1 to 50 a hit on this card right here, range. So we're going to see what kind of hit that is. Fast action cards avoid charts. I mean, I can play this whole game. I'm not sure that I used the charts in this game. I think I stole a base early on in the game, and I did use a chart. So it was a, what did we say it was? I totally forgot now. Get sidetracked. Oh, it's a hit, but we're going to see what kind of hit. It was through shortstop, and it's going to be a single. All right. So Ivan De Jesus leads it off. Well, there's one out, and Ivan De Jesus gets on first with a single. Now we're going to see if he steals. He's a 4D base stealer. He had 24 stolen bases and 20 caught stealing. That's what I tell you about 79 and this part of baseball history. The guys will have 24 stolen bases, 20 caught stealing. No big deal. So he does go often, and that we rolled a 5. That's not going to be a 4. We needed a 4 or under for him to run. So he does not run. And this keeps me from having to decide all the time. Do I go? Do I not go? Have I gone too much and all that? I like it. So, and I'm fair to both teams because I do it with both teams. You know, I have a tendency sometimes not to do it with guys that stole like one base because, you know, it really doesn't matter to me. But, you know, when I remember, I'll do it. But mostly it's guys like this. I'll check how many stolen bases they have, and I'll definitely run with them if they have, you know, a few stolen bases. All right. So Ted Sizemore, runner on first. Sizemore's 1 for 3. He's singled. 8. That's a tough. There's actually in the Mets bullpen. And that's an 87, a tough 87 versus a right-hander, takes us to the out range, and that's going to be a ground ball to 6. And it's the 8 is within the DP range of Swan. Let's check out Sizemore if he hit into a lot of double plays, and he did. So an 87 is going to be a 6. Doug Flynn to Chapman, back to first, gets him. So it's a grounder, 6-4-3, and it's going to be a double play with the runner at first, out at second. And the Mets are out of that inning. Wow, okay. I did a lot of maneuvering cards and I misplaced. Okay, here they are. Give me a second. I don't know what I did with the lineup. The lineup for the Cubs. I have cards all around me. Kind of misplaced them. This is pretty funny. I have no idea where they are now. I don't see them anywhere. Reuschel, Lamp, Hernandez, Kruko. These are all the pitchers. Did I put it in this section here? I don't know. This has never happened to me before. Craig Swan. There's Martin. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I just spaced out. Early morning. I guess I'm half asleep. It's going to be a long day at work today. And I have them right here. Oh, no, those are the Mets. Oh, you know what? I put them underneath the fast action cards. All right, and I started pulling fast action cards, and I put the fast action cards on top of the Mets. All right, so it's Donnie Moore was pinch hit for, so he's not the pitcher in there anymore. And who we're going to have, it's going to be Craig Swan batting. And then it's going to be the switch hitter, Lee Mazzilli, and then Kelvin Chapman, a right-hander. So we are going to bring in Lamp. We said earlier that he was the first pitcher, and let me go through those. Let me just show you the quality and the quantity of amazing payoff pitch. And we're looking for, oh, this is New York. Okay. That was New York. Dennis Lamp, there he is, Dennis Lamp. He pitched in this game. Opening day. Goes on to be a starter, pitching 32 starts with a 3.50 ERA. So he was quite a pitcher once they make him a starter. But he starts off the season kind of in the bullpen. All right, so Craig Swan is the batter against Dennis Lamp. We're going to bring in Lamp here on I score. We're going to have to write him in. I'm going to just put D just to save time. D and Lamp. And here's the pitch, and that's a 4. That's in play for Swanee. And Swanee is a 3 batting pitcher and a 4. And in play 10 is going to be a grounder up the middle and through into center for a single. So Swan leads off with a single off Dennis Lamp. And Swan, does he steal? I don't even think that's that information now. He's not. 3C actually. But no, he's not going to steal. All right, Lee Mazzilli. And that's an 8. That's going to be Patient. So that's good for Mazzilli. Patient is good for Mazzilli. And that's going to be a 54. A Patient 54 for Mazzilli is going to be a base on balls. So Mazzilli walks. So runners on first and second. Nobody out here for the Mets. And we're going to have Kelvin Chapman. Now, Chapman is a bunter. We're going to, let's see his bunt. He's a sacrifice B bunter. A B bunter, so we don't have to do anything because I pull a card. A B bunter says sacrifice hit, successful sacrifice. And that's going to be an out, a sac bunt. It's going to be pitcher to second base. I just made that up. I mean, I could look it up, but I don't want to. It's not that important to me. It's a successful sacrifice. That's what counts. And now with second and third and only 1 out, it's the lefty hitting Richie Hebner. And this is where we're going to make a switch, and we're going to go to a lefty, a Chicago lefty. But no, that's my first alarm clock. I have 2. So this would give me actually an opportunity to play a second game today. I got up earlier than, so I'm looking through the pitchers, and I remember before we mentioned there was a lefty, Hernandez. Willie Hernandez is going to come in, and he's going to face Richie Hebner, the lefty. So lefty versus lefty. So I'm going to write in Hernandez for Dennis Lamp. Add sub, so Willie W. Hernandez, and he's a lefty. There you go. All right. Willie Hernandez is in now. Lefty versus lefty. Runners on second and third. The infield's going to be playing in, so here I have my chart that I spoke to the creator, Joe Bryan, and he was more than helpful, giving me the data that I needed to get down. And I created my own chart here where he's bases loaded versus non-bases loaded. So bases not loaded, I look here. So this is where I'm going to be looking. Infield in. Let's see what happens. Infield in, Richie Hebner. Here's the pitch from Willie Hernandez. And it's going to be a 3. That's defense. Okay, that's crazy. That's defense. And that's going to be a 46 defense. A 46 defense. So, let's see. We pulled a card to see it's third baseman error. And now our third baseman is Steve Olivares. Let's see what kind of third baseman he is. At third base, he's a 2 error, which is not very good. So a 46 under a 2 is going to be an E on Olivares. He boots it. And the error on the third baseman is going to be a 1 base error. So that's going to allow Craig Swan to score. So E5. And the ball hit right to him, and he bobbled it and got nobody out. So Swan scores. Mazzilli goes to third. And Hebner stops at first. There you go. So we have Richie Hebner at first, safe at first on the error with 1 out. Mazzilli moves to third. Swan scores, and the Mets lead at 4-1. Next batter is John Stearns. Again, the infield is in. 7. That's tough. A tough 95. That's going to be a fly ball. But in the tough category, it's not going to be a fly ball that's going to result as a sacrifice fly. And that's a fly ball to Kingman. He's got it. And holding up at third is Lee Mazzilli. And we have Willie Montanez. Again, another lefty, so Willie Hernandez, southpaw, faces Willie Montanez. The two Willies, the battle of the Willies. And that sounds kind of strange. Anyway, all right. 8 in play with 2 outs here, runners on first and third. See what happens. A 99, oh boy, that's going to be a modifier, a sideline strategy Delphi forum run by Joe Bryan modifier for pop-ups in earlier seasons. And that's a pop-up to the right side, and third baseman Onovero's back, Kingman in, and Onoveros is going to call it, and he makes I'm sorry, that was to the right side. It was Bobby Mercer and Bill Buckner, and Bill Buckner makes the catch. For out number 3, the Mets pick up 1 on the error, and they lead it 4-1 going to the bottom of the 9th. All right, Craig Swan's going to try to finish it out. He's pitching a 6-hitter. He had 10 complete games in 35 starts. So the Mets have their bullpen going, so if he gets into any trouble, he will get pulled. But I always kind of lean towards letting pitchers go a little bit longer than a little bit less. It's just in my nature. So, but I try to keep it realistic. 6. So if he lets the guy on, I probably will pull him. He only finished 1 out of every 3 games, so he has a potential of finishing this game if he goes 1, 2, 3. In play to Bill Buckner, who hit a home run earlier in the game. I think that was the only Chicago run. It's a 90, an in-play 90, and that's going to be way in the out range, and that's going to be a fly ball pulled to right field. Elliot Maddox runs it down for out number 1. So Swanee looking pretty good, doesn't seem to be tired, has good command, good velocity, and he sets and he deals. It's Dave Kingman steps in the box, and here's the pitch. It's a 7. That's tough. A tough 49, and that's going to be a strikeout. High, hard one gets Kingman swinging, and he's not bashful with that swing, known as King Kong. And it's going to be Bobby Mercer now, left-handed batting right fielder for the Cubs. He started off with the Yankees. The Yanks had high hopes. He was supposed to be the heir to the Mantle Hall of Fame career, and that did not turn out that way. Bobby Mercer was a good player, but the high expectations, I think, kind of stressed him, and he never really performed up to that level, although he was a consistent hitter, a decent hitter, and some years an above average hitter. Had a long career with the Yankees, then he went to the Cubs, and then he came back to the Yankees, and I think he finished his career off with another team. All right, here's the pitch from Swan to Bobby Mercer, and that's a 10. That's patient, so Bobby Mercer has a little bit of an edge there, an 84, but now with that 84 roll, it's a ground at a second. Kelvin Chapman is there. Throws out Mercer by half a step. Mercer hustling down that line. At 33, he can still move it. And that's out number 3. Game is over. So Dave Kingman struck out for out number 2, and then Bobby Mercer grounded out, and the Mets win opening day by a score of 4-1. The Mets line score is 4 runs, 10 hits, no errors, 10 left on base, and they had back-to-back jacks by Richie Hebner, and John Stearns. The Cubs, on the other hand, had 1 run, 6 hits, 2 errors, and 4 left on base. And their only run came on a Bill Buckner first inning tater against Craig Swan. Craig Swan pitched very nicely, gave up only 6 hits and 1 run, that run coming in the first inning, and he's going to get the victory. The loss is going to go to Rick Reuschel of the Cubs, and we are setting up for Game 2. Now, this is only a 2-game series early on. I don't know if it was a 3-game series and the third one got called, but there's only 2 games in the actual 79 schedule for the Mets at Wrigley. So we're going to play 1 more game at Wrigley, and it has the opportunity to be a high scoring affair. I mean, if you look at the Wrigley Field card, right? I mean, everything is in the wheelhouse. So you're going to have a lot of home runs. You're going to have a lot of extra base hits. Lefties 1 to 69, that's 69% chance. And then with righties, that's 86% chance. So there's a chance that you're always coming off the batter's wheelhouse category, which gives those batters a lot of strength and power, and it results in high scoring games and home runs. That's how Payoff Pitch does that. And the only thing that I think I may have gone a little bit fast. If any of you guys are watching to get the game and kind of looking as a tutorial, I may have gone a little bit fast when there was a transition from the defensive rating, the range rating. Anytime defense comes up or range comes up, you pull a card. You pull a card, a fast action card, and it says shortstop. So now I look at my shortstop, and my shortstop would be, in the case of the Mets, would be Flynn, and under his range, shortstop C, right? So at shortstop, he's a C. At second, he's a C, and then his arm is a little bit better at second because he's closer to the bag. I'm sorry, his error rating is a little bit better. And as a shortstop, it's a little bit worse. So we pulled the card. It was a range card. So we would be looking under his range, and his range is a C range. And then we just go into the range section here, and it says 1 to 50 is a hit, and then 51 to 99 is an out, right? So then we roll, and we see, is it 1 to 50? It's a hit, and it's a 91, so it would be an out. What kind of an out? Well, you can look that up. You can pull this, and it tells you what kind of an out. Pull another card. It says out to the infield is pop out. So it's a pop up. That's a snow cone, and he holds on to, or he juggles, and he holds on to it for the out. And that's pretty much how that works. So the cards tell you what's what, and that way you don't have to pull any charts. And that's about it for Payoff Pitch, and I will play another one. Just going to set up the lineups, the official, actual lineups. And again, like I said, Payoff Pitch is amazing. Why? Because of the plethora of cards. I'll even do a little bit for you here. I'm going to pull up game 2 of the Mets 79 schedule. It's going to be May 7th. That was May 5th. These are both high-scoring games in actuality. And for the Mets, it's going to be Zachary versus Holtzman. So for the Mets, I'm going to look and see if they have Zachary, and you can see, Pat Zachary's right there. But look at all the pitchers. Wow. Goes on and on, right? Look at that. Man, and that's the regular set. What do I have, 20 pitchers there? That's beautiful. Anyway, Pat Zachary's going to start the next game. So I'm going to put Swanee away. I'm going to get a little sleeve. Oh, I hate hitting the camera. I'm going to get a little sleeve for Pat Zachary to protect him, since I do grab the pitchers after every inning again and again. And I do handle the Wrigley card goes on top of the teams, and then I put a rubber band around them. And I have to change that. I have to put them in little baggies because rubber bands will damage the cards in the long run. But for the short run, they're okay. And, okay, so now for the Cubs, it's going to be Holtzman, Kenny Holtzman. Let's go through the plethora. Let's see if Kenny Holtzman is included in the regular set. Otherwise, I would find him in the, there he is. Kenny Holtzman, he's going to get his little sleeve as well to protect these cards. They're gorgeous. And there you go. So it's going to be Kenny Holtzman at Chicago versus the southpaw Ken Holtzman, and that'll have me, and I have to make mental note of that's going to have me looking off the left side of the Mets batters, because I have the split the split cards with righty versus lefty type of batting averages and so forth, and platoon elements. So Willie Hernandez is going to go away, and then now I'm going to set up the lineups for Game 2. And I'm going to say goodbye. So take care, guys, and Mets win it, opening day, 1979. Very exciting for me, and I'll see you soon with Game 2. I don't know if I'm coming in a little bit with Game 2. I may not. It's still early. I may just close my eyes a little bit. I have probably another 40, 50 minutes to sleep, and I may just do that.